Hey guys, welcome to another David Zamaleta. In today's video, I'm gonna replace the coolant. This is October and the season's getting ready to get a lot colder, even here in South Carolina. So it's not freezing yet, but you do not want to have old coolant inside, let alone water. So I also noticed that I've been losing a little bit of coolant. So I don't know what the deal with that is. My car does smoke just a tiny bit whenever I'm pre-warming it. So I'm not sure if I'm losing it some way. It appears to me that the coolant is just dropped down a little bit. Like it's about what slightly above the minimum level right now. Last time I filled it was at least a couple weeks ago. And I filled it almost a gallon, like literally three quarts of it, and only then the lamp came on. So I know that I need to kind of like keep an eye on things now. And also I'm not really sure the quality of the coolant because it might just be water and not the coolant itself. So I want to go ahead and drain it. And the type of coolant that I'm going to be using is the concentrated formula for all makes and models. And you might be wondering, why am I using this and not the BMW? Well, part of the reason is because I can, and this is cheaper and this is more accessible, and the accessibility is the key to the whole thing. So if I'm losing coolant and I need to quickly add coolant, you cannot just add any type of coolant. If there's a Walmart next to you and the old dealership is open, you gotta add some coolant, not just water. You want to make sure that you have coolant that's accessible. So unless you want to carry coolant with you that you want to have. So this car has 216,000 miles now. So I'd say it deserves something like this. It says a longer engine life, 10 years, 300,000 miles guarantee. I hope I can get at least 300,000 miles out of it. But anyways, this is a concentrated type, and lately I think people are kind of like skimping out, and they're just putting in regular water. You don't want to do that because water has minerals in it, and then you're gonna have mineral and calcium buildup in your radiator, and you don't want that. Radiator is gonna be like kind of like wasted. This is distilled water. They didn't have the regular distilled, so I went ahead and I got the baby one. Works the same. All it is distilled water. So that's what we're going to be using. I do have like four ports of this, and 4 gallons of this, and I got 2 of that, and that is concentrated. So you do not want to use a 50 mix when you're replacing a radiator coolant, because some of this coolant is going to be like left behind, and you may want to flush out the system. And when you flush out the system of the old coolant, then you'll need the concentrated stuff so it could mix with the water or whatever that's inside the engine that's left over from you having to flush things out. So I'm not gonna flush this vehicle because I believe it's just water in here, because that's all I've been seeing. So we're gonna pour this out and we're gonna see. So anyways, the very first thing you want to do is remove the cover that's covering your engine, and you do want to make sure you place it back. It's kind of important. So there's a couple bolts here, a couple screws, but all the screws seems to be undone, and actually they don't even hold even if you try to do them. Okay, so the cover's out. So let's see what we have here. So first, let's just observe to see what we can see. For some reason, all that stuff is moist, and it just looks kind of like slightly like water. Let's inspect the belt. The belt is looking okay. So it looks like you have slight oil leakage from these charge pipes. So this is the intercooler here. So guys, when you take the cover off, the main one, to get access to the bolts that you need, you're gonna need to remove this plastic cover here, which covers your intercooler. So it takes a T25, and you just basically remove every single thing like this. So you're gonna need to remove them on the left and the right side. So guys, turn out like all of these cars are kind of built a little bit differently. We looked up a video on the location of the radiator drain plug, and somebody said it's on this side, okay? And must have been like a different model. So this is the 535i, and here's the location. The location is right there. And you can see it good because we got the plastic out of the way. It shouldn't be at this angle. The only reason it's at this angle is because you might notice a little bit to the right is a little bit kind of like damage. It's due to the fact it's a screwdriver. I tried to very nicely tap it out of the way, and with these metal lines in the way, like it's kind of like impossible to kind of get to it. Now you could remove this charge pipe and have a little bit more access to it, but the thing is you'll have to remove it all the way up high because you're still not gonna have really good access. But there is a place where you could put like a drain hose, so you could drain the water in a different direction. But at this point, that thing is so stuck, it does not want to move out like either way. So I think I'm gonna take some knippets, reach in there, and hopefully get that thing loose. Plus that plastic is very brittle. It did not break or anything in the center, but there is no leverage whatsoever to even do it that way. So, you know, that is that. So we got it drained out of the thing, but guys, that plug is very springy. So I did have to get this charge pipe loose. For some reason, when I got it loose, the actual intercooler, it just kind of goes down like that. It's kind of strange in this situation. I mean, it is kind of convenient, but I don't think it should be this loose. Normally they should be bolted down. Not in my case, I guess. So the little red knob, that is the radiator fluid plug location on the BMW 535i. It drains barely, even though the actual radiator fill tube, this one here, overflow tank, the lid is off, but it's still draining barely. And it appears to me like they're using all makes and model type of fluid. At least this wasn't just simply water. I thought it's going to be just water in here, but it wasn't, which is a good thing. Now it's a very tight location, to say the least, to get in there. This is the only thing that really worked. I tried knippets, they did not work. And that plastic thing, it's very brittle. So let's just wait for it to drain for 10 minutes. So guys, the fluid is draining. As you can see, it is greenish bluish, which is what BMW is supposed to use. That is a good sign. I'm not the first owner of this BMW, and since I got it, I've been wanting to get it done. I got it a few months ago, and I want to make sure that that gets changed. But there is some technicalities and stuff with these BMWs. You got to use a computer to get rid of any air pockets. I will try doing it without it, but then of course I'll visit my brother's shop and show you guys how it's done the proper way. It's just I don't have this type of tools here. I just have the normal stuff. But as you could see, I had to disconnect the charge pipe. It's kind of weird that even though I've undone this, it's maybe stuck on there like so good that does not want to come out. Like, and I don't want to like overdo it and like break it. But it is kind of weird. I thought I could just undo this and slide the pipe right out. This is why the charge pipe's not all the way out. But since I got it loose, I'm not gonna worry about it at the moment. And of course I have to get this out of the way to even get close to that. But now I could actually start installing this stuff again because, you know, the bottom is done. So guys, we are installing the intercooler cover back on to keep it from going down. Looks like that plastic piece does hold it. Charge pipe is back in place. Can't really see it that good because of it's dark, but just take my word for it. It's in place, and all of these pipes are back. You want to make sure you snap this in. And then if you look through here, you want to make sure that that is on correctly. If it's not on, you'll see that it's not on. And make sure it's attached over here as well. So that being said, the radiator drain plug, it's now nice and tight, and Kevin's getting ready to install the cover, which is right there for the intercooler. So I'll line it and I'll hold it for you, okay?
You can stop holding because
it snaps in?
It snaps in, but there is another place for you to do.
Okay. So I want you to install this and then install the engine cover back. So I'm going to go ahead and start pouring the radiator fluid back in. So now it's going to have like air in the system, and we'll have to like cycle the key to the number 2 position and let it cycle through, and we'll add fluid as necessary. That way we're not going to have any air pockets. So you might be wondering why in the beginning I'm putting a whole bottle of concentrated formula. Well, because the engine will have approximately same amount of old fluid left over, or water, and this needs to mix, and obviously it's not going to be like exactly 1 gallon. We could add water as necessary. So now that I added all this fluid, I'll just put the lid slightly back on it. I'm going to start adding water. So I noticed it is getting some of the pockets out, so we added about a half a gallon. There's probably approximately half a gallon of this stuff, water or otherwise old fluid, somewhere in the engine or pipes, anywhere. I'm gonna try to cycle on the engine to where the electric pump could start pumping it. This is an electric water pump, electric thermostat, this car. So you could now see why it's a good idea to put a whole gallon of the concentrated formula, because you'll be using up almost a gallon to a gallon of the actual fluid. So it did kind of get some of the bubbles. Now with the lid being off, I'm going to give you guys a closer look, and I'm going to cycle this on.
Are you gonna start this thing up?
No, I'm not going to start it up. You do want to blast on full heat. So right now it's blasted on full heat, guys. I don't know why I'm forgetting some of the stuff. But anyways, hopefully the water will cycle back where it needs to. Okay, I'm kind of just like letting it cycle right now. Okay, Cameron, observe the water, see if it bubbles.
I need a step. Where is the difference?
Yeah, it needs to bubble a little bit to get the air pockets out. So right now it's got to get all the air pockets out. So hopefully that's what it's doing. Also the engine is heating up, and it might be causing it to bubble that way. We're also going to pressurize this system, find out if there's any leaks, due to the fact that we were losing some water before. At this point, I don't have the tool, so we'll have to go to my brother's shop in order to get that done. So guys, the work is done. I gotta do the brakes tomorrow. but the radiator seems to be fine. The oil's fine, so that's the most important thing. Brakes, well, we're gonna replace tomorrow.